Talk Laredo College with the president of Laredo College, Dr. Benita Ramirez. Dr. Ramirez, how are you?
I'm doing well, Ruben.
Good to see you again.
I'm glad to be back and to share great stories about Laredo College.
Absolutely. Today we want to talk specifically about a recent warehouse sale that Laredo College hosted, but we want to go back and explain everything that went into that warehouse sale because it was a pretty long process. It wasn't just, oh, let's sell stuff, right? So where do you want to start with that?
Let's start at the very beginning. So in December of 2022, the Fernando Salinas trustees called me in December and said that the foundation or the trust wanted to give Laredo College the house on Clark Street, which is formerly known as Mayor Martin's house, and all of its contents. So several of the board members and I and some of the staff members went over there to see the house and what was in it. We were all pretty shocked at how much the trust had accumulated over the years and how much was in the house. They agreed to do some cleanup and some initial getting rid of some of the things that really had little to no value. And so then the agreement was made, the board approved it, and the idea was that for at least a year, we would take the time to inventory every single item in the house, so that we could then report back to the trustees what was in the house, and we did. And it took our staff actually about a year and a half to go through every single item, inventory it. They would photograph it, inventory it, give it a number, and then we would try to give it a value. And as we did that, we started to realize that some things had more value than others, and from a monetary standpoint. We also knew that we had an empty commander's house that we needed to somehow furnish on the inside.
Now, the commander's house, let's just back up a little bit. First of all, the house on Clark is an iconic house in Laredo.
Correct.
Everybody at some point passes by there and wonders, what is the story behind the house?
Yeah.
Those that are older would remember.
Correct.
But the younger generation does not have any idea whose house that is, other than it's a beautiful white house that's there on Clark and Meadow. And then the commander's home is actually here on the Laredo College campus.
That's correct.
Okay.
So here on the Fort McIntosh campus, we have the commander's home, which was the original house of the Fort Commander. And over the course of the years, the presidents have lived in that house. I do not live in that house. I live in my own house.
Right.
But all the male presidents before me lived in that house. And when I got here, actually 3 years ago today.
Wow! Happy work anniversary.
Thank you, thank you. The house was empty, and so I started to bring, some of my own personal items to try to fill that, to put things in the house. So I brought in, my own dishes and things like that, just so that we would have things in there if we ever needed it. But when we received this gift of the Clark house, there was furniture, there was artwork, mirrors, there was different ceramic things, silver plated things that we could use, serving dishes, punch bowls, so things that we could actually use. And we started to furnish the house little by little after it was all inventoried. There were rugs. I can't even begin to tell you how much was in that house and how much we were able to use. We did the same thing in the David B. Barkley Chapel that sits on this campus. We furnished that with statues and religious paintings, and so we furnished that. And then all across the campuses, both the Fort Mac and the South Campus, we put paintings up on the walls. We put lawn furniture out on the lawns. Our staff was able to give it a facelift, repainting it, and getting it ready, and students use it, and visitors use it as they come to campus. And so we were able to use a lot of what was there.
And again, all of that from the house on Clark.
All of it from the house on Clark Street. And then the question became, what are we going to do with what we cannot use? The trust has always been very committed to our community and to the Laredo public. And so we felt that it would be important for us to share its contents at a reasonable price with the community. And so we started to plan this sale. And it took us about 6 months to plan it because we had to put everything in this huge warehouse. We stacked everything. We tried to organize it by items. And then based on what we saw as value to it on either the internet or people that are in this business helped us with, we realized that some items, were very, very affordable and others were not. So, but we went ahead and made that pricing distinction based on the support that we got from some of the people who are in this business of reselling used items. And so we did. And 2 Saturdays ago, we had this huge sale. And we were very fortunate. The community came out and really supported the event. It was really wonderful to see everybody in an orderly fashion come in. Some people have already seen pictures and videos that have been shared with the public, but it was really a wonderful day or morning. It was hot, but not as hot as it could have been.
Yeah, exactly. And the reason it was in the morning was since it was in the warehouse, the goal was to get it done before it does actually start to get hot.
Right.
What were your expectations going into the warehouse sale? I mean, what were you thinking was going to happen or how it was going to go?
I had no idea. I had no idea how many people we were going to get, nor did I have any idea about how the flow of traffic was going to be. But everybody here on campus that came out to support, we had a lot of campus volunteers. We had our campus police show up to help guide traffic. We had our physical plant people here to help load things. Our bursar's office was here. They were actually the ones taking all the payments. I think what made it easier, Ruben, was that we were only taking credit card or cash. And so the flow of traffic became much easier. And people were prepared because we let them know. All of your team and your colleagues from your offices were there, as were our property inventory team. And so shipping and receiving was there as well. And so everybody that came out to help actually had an opportunity the day before to go through the things and pick out what they would like because they were going to be working on Saturday. And then we opened it up and it worked out well. I think everybody was technically gone by about 2:00. And it was a huge success.
Yeah. And the money that was raised, that's all profit to the college because all of this was donated. So now what do you do with that money?
So one of the discussions I had with one of the trustees was that their concern has always been, how do they help maintain the college, the facilities of the college? How do we support programming? And so the idea is, as we go through and try to give a little facelift to some of our historical buildings, which are not only expensive, but they're also hard to maintain. We've had to replace roofs on this campus, on the Fort Mac campus, that hadn't been replaced in over 25 years.
Wow.
And so that alone has been a huge endeavor on our part. This is the funding that we received, or the money that we made off that sale, is going to go to continue to restore the Fort McIntosh campus, but also to help support some of our other projects. People may think we made millions of dollars. We didn't, but we made several $1,000s that will help us continue to support some of these projects. We do have several buildings that are on the verge of, I hate to say it, but are on the verge of collapse, and we really need to do something, and quickly. And so this is certainly going to be a huge help.
It's a stark reminder of how long this campus has been here. We talk about it all the time. We're proud to say it's the historic Fort McIntosh campus, but hand in hand with that is the condition of some of the buildings that have been here.
And some of the buildings were erected in like 1847, 1849. There are a couple that were built in 1852 or 57. So these buildings, our responsibility is to protect them.
Yeah.
What most people don't know is that this campus, the Fort Mac campus, is registered as a historical national landmark. And the sign is actually on the Arechiga building, which we're almost set to reopen this fall. We're renovating it. It's going to become our academic advising center. And so we're thrilled about that. And we restored the internal ceilings. We were able to restore the floors. We took off all the carpets and found beautiful wood floors under. And so we're trying to just save as much as we can, and do it financially sustainable. That's the other thing.
Is the Arechiga building the oldest building on the whole campus?
I think the oldest building may be the commander's home. And so between those two, I think there were, because one was the officers' quarters and the other was the commander's quarters. We're pretty sure those are the two oldest buildings based on the data that we have. And in between, there's a whole bunch of other facilities that we were able to save. The chapel, that is a beautiful facility.
It really is.
I was fortunate enough to 2 years ago get married there.
Really?
And
2 years ago today also?
no,
Oh.
no. But that one needed, I think, the least amount of work.
Yeah.
I think what was the most difficult piece was the roof and the wood floor that's in that lobby area, because every single one of those planks is hand cut.
Oh, goodness.
They're not all the same size. And so the gentleman who redid the floor literally had to cut each plank individually.
Gosh.
So that took a little bit of time.
What a beautiful setting, though.
Yeah, it is.
To put a bow and to go back on the warehouse sale, Dr. Ramirez, now what happens to the home on Clark?
So the home on Clark has been sold.
Okay.
Because we're a state institution, we had to put it out for bids. We had it out on the market through the state registry for 9 months. And we had not gotten a bid. And finally, there was a couple from Houston, and they're both originally from Laredo, that are planning to eventually move back to Laredo, who purchased the home. They made a bid, and I took it to the Board of Trustees, and the Board of Trustees accepted the offer, and so we made the transaction and sold the facility.
Yeah. Well, so everything, not just the home itself, but everything inside, all of it donated to Laredo College, and so anything that we can turn in and make money off of goes back to the college.
That's correct. It goes back to the programming that we're doing. So what we're going to do with the profits of the home sale itself is we're restoring what was the old guardhouse or the jail of the fort. We want to turn that into the Veterans One-Stop Shop Center. And so Congressman Henry Cuellar got us an earmark a couple of years ago for $1.4 million we're in the process still, since the Trump administration came in, the way we have to report what we're going to do has changed. And so it's taken us a very long time to get approval to actually receive the money. Congressman Cuellar and his office has been very supportive of the pushing that through. We're pretty close to finalizing that. The last thing is the environmental study, and that's been submitted. So we're waiting on final approval. But because the plans and the bids that we received were scheduled to be 1.4 million, 2 years later, we know that's not going to be enough to.
Prices must be exactly the same.
No, they're not.
2 years later, no?
I wish they were. So we know that what we made on the house is probably going to go into supporting that facility. And we're being very transparent about it.
Sure.
And I know that the Fernando Salinas Trust is very supportive of veterans, and so they're I think very happy about what we're actually doing with their donation to us. Both of the trustees were very grateful to us for the work that we did. On Saturday after the sale, I called the attorney David Garcia, who's one of the trustees, not David Garcia, my husband, the other David Garcia. And I explained to him what we had done and what had happened, and he expressed their gratitude and certainly wanted to thank us for supporting the trust, but more importantly, for always keeping them informed and up to date with what it is that we're doing with their donations. So we're very grateful to Mr. Garcia and to Mr. Saffirini, who are the two trustees. They're really trying to reestablish the trust, and so we're thankful to them and for their trust in Laredo College and their belief in the work that we do here.
The warehouse was almost picked clean, but there are still some items left over. What do you plan to do with those?
So those items that are left over, we're now going to have an employee sale probably in the next couple of weeks. Because our employees really didn't get an opportunity to do that. And then what's left, we're going to put on a state website. There is a state auction website, and so all of the photographs of what's left will be uploaded to that, and people will be able to bid on those items and purchase them and then come pick them up.
Sounds good. Dr. Ramirez, anything else you want to add?
No, I think the last thing is, if you haven't come out to our Fort Mac campus, I want to invite the community to come out and visit. It really is beautiful. From the moment you come over the overpass, at the entrance where it says Laredo, welcome to Laredo College, there's a gold palomino. That palomino came from the house on Clark Street. And our physical plant staff cleaned it up, repainted it, and we put it there. So we welcome visitors to come out and take photographs of your family here, but more importantly, enjoy what we've been gifted. There's so much to see on our campus, and the mere fact that we are a national landmark, and most people in our community don't know that.
Yeah.
And we're really proud of our historical value, but we're really proud of the work that we're doing here today to continue that legacy of excellence.
So a historic home donated to a historic college.
That's right.
And that, as Paul Harvey used to say, is the rest of the story on the warehouse sale and the Martin home. Dr. Ramirez, thank you very much. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Ruben, for all your help.
Did you forget my name?
Yeah, no, I didn't forget your name. Thank you, Ruben.
All right.